Hi YouTube! Welcome to live. I think we are about to go live on Facebook. Give us just a moment. I'm here with Katie, our family law paralegal. What's up, Katie?
Nothing much. It's Friday, so that's nice.
It is Friday. And here in a minute you're going to find out some really fun stuff about this Friday in particular. With our National Day of that we do in our opening segment.
And there's a good number of those today.
Yeah, there's some fun ones today. I think today is my favorite of all the Facebook Lives that we've done. I really enjoyed today's National Day of.
Really putting a lot of pressure on me here.
I mean, not the whole topic. It's a little bit of a dark subject.
True.
But our National Day ofs are a lot of fun. So, here we go with Facebook. Hi Facebook and YouTube. Welcome to Disclosure Live with Brandy Austin Law. I'm Jonna.
I'm Katie.
And today we are going to discuss the opioid crisis in America. There are a few states and counties that have decided to come together and sue certain pharmaceutical companies due to the cost of treating the opioid crisis. And some claim the pharmaceutical companies even knew that these drugs were addictive prior to putting them out in the market, and so they lied. We do know that this is a touchy subject for some individuals, so we completely understand if at this moment you would like to leave and exit from the show today, but we're going to start off with our opening segment. So we're going to talk about a couple of fun things and then go into local news.
All right, so let's start with National Say Something Nice Day. The purpose of this holiday is to counteract bullying and lack of civility and common courtesy that is growing among people in today's world. Hopefully, the practice of saying something nice today will continue onto all tomorrows and be infectious, and hopefully you'll transfer it on to someone else.
You look really pretty today.
Thank you. Your hair is on point.
Thank you. I really worked hard for this. Wait, yep. Thank you. So next up, we like this one, but unfortunately it doesn't apply to us today. It's National Leave the Office Early Day. So of course, it's everybody's favorite.
I thought this was a joke.
No, this is real. Did you think I was trying to play a joke on Brandy? Like, hey,
yeah, something.
We're all out of here today. But yeah, so obviously we all really like this one. So National Leave the Office Early Day is an incentive to many who often work more than 40 hours a week. On this day, upon completion of all your necessary work and with the needed approval, it is suggested that you leave work early to enjoy the rest of the day with fun activities of your choosing. So if you get to do that today, you can celebrate by hashtagging #LeaveTheOfficeEarly Day and post it on any of your social media. It's just a lot of fun.
Yes. Show everyone else what you're doing.
Yeah.
While they're at work.
We're all going to be scrolling through social media like, oh, man.
We'll enjoy it though. We'll live vicariously through you.
Yeah, and if you're like us and you don't get to leave early, the least you can do is make the end of your day yours and go home, enjoy your evening, and enjoy your weekend. So yeah, so leave the office early or don't, but at least enjoy your weekend. Next up, we have National Donut Day. Yes.
National Donut Day.
So it was created by the Salvation Army in 1938 to honor the women who served the donuts to soldiers in World War I. It began as a fundraiser for Chicago Salvation Army. The goal of it started in 1938, so that's pretty impressive that we still do this, but it was to help the needy during the Great Depression. Each year on the first day in June, people participate in National Donut or Donut Day. This day celebrates the donut and honors the Salvation Army lassies, the women that served donuts to soldiers during World War I. In 1917, the original Salvation Army donut was first served by the ladies of the Salvation Army. And it was during World War I that the Salvation Army lassies went to the front lines of Europe. They provided home-cooked meals, the donuts, many different things. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Women are awesome.
Women are awesome. You're awesome, Katie.
You too.
It's National Say Something Nice Day.
Right back at you.
Okay, so we're going to tackle some local news really quick.
All right, so with summer here and in full blast, the city of Dallas has decided to take precautions and provide cooling stations to the city's residents. The program started yesterday on the 31st and offers residents of the city water and air-conditioned facilities to escape the Texas heat. Facilities designated with Beat the Heat centers include the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center, the West Dallas Multipurpose Center or the Reverchon
Park.
However that is pronounced, that is what I said. Park Recreation Center. The Salvation Army donated water to be distributed at those centers. It has also opened cooling stations at 13 of its centers in North Texas for anyone who needs a break from the heat.
And I do believe that they said that people can just go and hang out at these recreation centers. So if you don't have air conditioning or you don't have water, you're lacking water, you can go to these centers, hang out, get water, stay cool, beat the heat.
Very important. I think it's going to reach over 100 tomorrow, so very important to stay cool.
Texas
does not mess around.
Does not mess around. The heat here is insane. So the next thing is, lately there have been, recently in Texas, there was a school shooting, and the governor of Texas took it upon himself to initiate a new program. We already have something called iWatch Texas. It is currently being used by the DPS to share information about potential threats with law enforcement. It can be found on the agency's website and through the DPS app. Next month, the reporting system will transition to its own separate smartphone app and provide a cell phone app for students in high school and the teachers, principals, anyone within a school system, the opportunity to report from their phone any suspicious activity, things like that. So what will happen is, if you're a student or you're a teacher and you find suspicious activity, or you hear a threat, or you think that somebody may do something dangerous, you can report it on this app. It will then, like, depending on your location, disperse to the proper agency. Those agencies will investigate, and if they deem the threat, real, then they will do what they need to do to take care of it. But they're trying to combat the situation in schools right now the best way that they can. So that is available. Look out for it, research it, and check it out.
So next up news is a personal favorite news announcement.
Let's find it.
This one is for all the Dallas folks out there. Dallas Animal Shelter is completely full. Dallas Animal Services is waiving adoption fees in hopes of finding homes for hundreds of animals. The shelter has received nearly 3,000 animals in May, putting them at full capacity. If you're interested, call them, check them out, go by their visit website. Even if it's not to adopt a pet, even if it's just to volunteer or donate blankets, your time, food, water, anything really. Go, if you play guitar, go sing them a song, anything. Those animals appreciate every little bit, whether you know it or not.
They do. They like a lot of love. So go visit them or adopt them. It's free. So let's jump right into why we're here. The opioid crisis. For the first time in history, drug overdoses are now the leading cause of death for Americans under the age of 40. And for the first time in nearly a quarter century, U.S. life expectancy has declined, driven by diseases of despair like alcoholism and drug addiction. And for the first time, policymakers and providers are serious about trying new approaches and making a real investment in turning all of us around and trying to figure out what we can do to battle this situation. Is it an epidemic, as people are saying? Is that just a media thing? Is this real? What the deal is, and policymakers are now really starting to hit the ground running and trying to figure out what we can do and what kind of threat this poses to, I guess, society and the individuals.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone really. The U.S. had more than 64,000 drug overdose deaths in 2016. More people died from overdoses than those who died in motor vehicle accidents, and more died than those who were killed in the 20-year Vietnam War.
That's a lot. That's when you put those numbers on paper, it really kind of jumps out at you.
It does, and I think that's where people are trying to figure out, what is this? Is this an epidemic? Is this a crisis? What do we need to handle this, or is this just
Right.
blown out of proportion? So a lot of different agencies are coming together to figure that out. But what exactly is an opioid?
So as far as the drug itself is concerned, when you use it as directed by your doctor, opioid medications safely help control acute pain, such as pain you experience after a surgery or maybe a minor accident. Opioids are a broad group of pain-relieving drugs that work by interacting with opioid receptors in your cells. Opioids can be made from the poppy plant, poppy seeds. For example, morphine, which the main one is MS cotton, that is synthesized in a laboratory. For example, fentanyl, that's a very, very popular, more widely known drug. It is a synthetic opioid.
And fentanyl is what a lot of the celebrities have been prescribed.
Yes.
So Prince, Michael Jackson, and many, many others.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunately the cause of their passing. But that is prescribed quite a bit to celebrities. So
Very, very, very heavy and serious drug.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very serious. So when those opioid medications travel through your blood and attach to your receptors in your brain cells, the cells release signals that muffle your perception of pain and boost your feelings of pleasure. So it's a two birds with one stone, and that leads to the potential for severe addiction.
Okay. So opioids are compared to heroin most of the time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike heroin, they are prescribed, so you can get them at a doctor. There is a pharmaceutical company that provides them. When researching the topic, there were allegations that certain pharmaceutical companies weren't completely honest about how addictive these medications are. And I don't know if that's true, but there are a few lawsuits coming from states that are saying, these pharmaceutical companies in 1996, they said, no, there's no addictive anything, let's go out and put them out on the market, and they quickly found out that there were some addictive qualities to them, and so these states are now suing for the financial cost and burden that it has put on them, because they're saying the pharmaceutical companies knew this.
Right, because they did their research prior to, and then I believe the FDA approved it right at the end of 1995, and then they rolled it out in the beginning of 1996.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even 6 months into it that it was publicly becoming known that it could
There was
cause
an
addiction.
issue.
Yes, and that there was an issue just right off the bat. But again, that was 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah, it was pretty. God, it was longer than that.
Well, yes, but since okay, yeah, I can't math.
So we can't math today. It's fine.
20 some odd years.
It's been a while. It's been going on for a while. But let's put this into numbers. So the viewers can see where the country is at in terms of how this is affecting us.
And this is the more put it to paper kind of scary part, because
right.
you know that there's an issue. There's been the war on drugs for 20 some odd years now, and
I think it was like the war on drugs is like 30 or 40
something like that. Anyways, so everyone knows that there is an issue with drugs in our country, but whenever you look at the numbers here, which we're about to explain, it really kind of hits you home.
Yeah, it does. It's intense. So as we stated before we go any further, if you would like to leave and exit from this, if this is a touchy subject, you may. But if you want to educate yourself, please stay. So during 2016, there were more than 63,600 overdose deaths in the United States, including 42,000 that involved an opioid. So that's 66% of drug overdose deaths came from prescribed medication, opioids. That's an average of 115 opioid overdose deaths each day. The International Narcotics Control Board reported that in 2015, Americans represented about 99.7% of the world's hydrocodone consumption, which hydrocodone is an opioid.
That's crazy.
I don't know that we stated that previously. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimated that the total economic burden of prescription opioid misuse alone, which is the reason that these states are filing these suits,
Right.
is $78.5 billion a year, including the costs of healthcare, lost productivity, addiction treatment, and criminal justice involvement. Because individuals who are...
Well, and you've got to think of the train of events and the shockwave that comes from one person getting addicted to this.
Right.
You know, whatever path they take, whether it's they gain more access to more drugs, or whether they switch to street drugs, or they're supplementing their prescription with something else, just trying to find what they need because they have that addiction. But then you think about the lives that it affects, the financial effects of it. You know, it's a trickle of stuff. I mean, it never ends, because they go to jail, then that's tax dollars, you know, and that's more money that's having to house more inmates and more programs. And I mean, it never ends.
Right. And every state is different, especially when it comes to this issue, because there's this debate. Is this a health issue, or is this a criminal justice issue? And because of that, you have some states that are...
Well, it has both elements,
right.
So it's hard to determine. That's why we should all just pull together and fix the issue.
So it does, a lot of states have different programs in place, and so you're seeing some of these states say, okay, well, we've done rehab, or we've done incarceration, or whatever it might be, and it's costing us money. And then they found out that allegedly these pharmaceutical companies knew about this addictive element of these drugs, and in knowing that, these states said, hey, you've cost us billions of dollars, I believe it was annually every year, so $78 billion every year. So that's where all of these lawsuits are coming from.
So the numbers kind of in the initial stage, roughly 21 to 29% of patients prescribed opioids for chronic pain misuse them. Between 8 and 12% develop an opioid use disorder. An estimated 4 to 6% who misuse prescription opioids transition to heroin. And then about 80% of people who use heroin first misused prescription opioids. That's a huge number. Opioid overdoses increased, this one gets me, 30% from July of 2016 through September of 2017 in 52 areas in 45 states. That's crazy. The Midwestern region saw opioid overdoses increase 70% from July 2016 through September 2017. Again, that's just outrageous. Overdose in large cities has increased by 54% in 16 states. This is not something that is what's the word? Contained within one part of the U.S. because you can't put a pin in it where it's all happening in one area. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's everywhere, and that's why I think it's labeled as a crisis, because it's nationwide. It's not any specific area. It's not, it's all stemming from one source, but I mean, it's everywhere.
Right.
And it's leading to, like we said earlier, if you can't get it prescription-wise, you can't get it the right way, they're going to find other ways to get it, whether it be through street drugs, synthetic drugs, or just moving on over to heroin
or finding another doctor that would prescribe.
I mean, I think I had read earlier, did a little bit of research. I think I had read that one pill of OxyContin can get up to like $30 to $40 a pill, and you can buy so much heroin for that much money, more than what you would get out of one pill. I mean, and not to say that seems the logical choice, but if you have a drug user, well, they're going to want more drugs for their money. That's a no-brainer.
Right. So if you're lacking access to one, then naturally you would just move on into the next, which creates a whole other problem. And there are treatment centers, so that's something that I think we need to put out there. There are treatment centers. There's methadone clinics and rehab facilities, so those are options for those that are incarcerated. That's a form of rehab.
It depends. I think that depends by state or by county, their departments, what they're able to provide for those people, and that differs greatly. And I think maybe not having that be, not that maybe we could put this together, but I think by not having some uniform program, and each county's kind of or states just kind of struggling to figure out what will work, how can they help their residents. with the limited resources that they have, I think that's where there's a discord in finding a solution.
Okay, I like that. Very well said. Katie, you're on a roll today. You're on a roll. But okay, so these rehab facilities, there's different treatments that are coming out as well. Just before we came on here, I looked up a few, and I thought it would be a really good thing to do just to kind of provide people with this information. So vaccines are currently under development to target opioids in the bloodstream and prevent them from reaching the brain and exerting euphoric effects. Researchers are exploring the potential of transcranial direct current stimulation, a novel, non-invasive brain stimulation technique for treating opioid use disorder. So keep an eye on that one. They're also improving treatment delivery. Researchers are exploring how the healthcare system can reach more people in need of treatment, which is what we were just talking about. How do you reach these people? Because if you are constantly battling and debating, okay, is this a health issue? Is this an incarceration issue? What do we do with these people? Where do we put them? You know, where are we going to put them in order to fight this and combat this issue?
You have to classify it. You have to classify the issue before you can make a solution. So, and I think that's a bit of where the problem is too, because on one hand you have a bunch of people that say, oh well, you know, addiction is not a mental disease. They can decide to stop. You know, they should be punished. You know, throw them in jail. And then you have the other half of people who have either had an addiction or known or have a loved one that, or just believe that, you know, a true addiction is a mental disease, and they're like, no, they need help in a different type of way.
Right.
And then of course it trickles down to money. So
yeah,
you know, who's going to pay for it?
Yeah. So there's a few different arguments kind of rolling around out there about how do we handle this and what kind of issue it is. So they're doing research on that. They're trying to figure out how they can improve the healthcare system to help all of these people if it is a health issue, if that's what we're calling it. They're also reaching justice-involved youth. So NIDA-funded research is aimed at identifying the most effective strategies for improving the delivery of evidence-based prevention and treatment services for youth through the juvenile justice translational research on interventions for adolescents in the legal system. So they're also trying to target this at a young age, because a lot of adolescents are influenced.
A lot of our youth this day and age is subjected to things that they should not be, and it's a lot to try to control in our day and age with the use of the internet and how fast information gets places.
Right. So you have so much going on, so much movement, it's really fast paced. The lawmakers are trying to step in and find a way to help. We have the healthcare professionals, the criminal justice system. There's so many people who are really trying to step in and help. So now they're trying to target youth as well to see if maybe they can help youth understand what this addiction is and what kind of troubles can come from it. You should always take medication as prescribed by your doctor. You should. That doesn't mean that you won't get addicted.
I did read, I think CVS has put into place a plan where they are, I can't really think of the details, but CVS had put in a plan to sort of kind of wean people off or give alternatives, have their pharmacists offer alternatives to pain
for certain pain medications, which brings us to our next one. So there are substitutes, well, not really substitutes. There's a few medications that you can take, including, I'm going to try to say this word.
Buprenorphine, Suboxone, Subutex, Methadone, extended release naltrexone, Vivitrol.
You're really rolling through these words. I'm like, I can't even sound them out.
Well, some of them I know just because I've read them before, but all of those are effective for the treatment of opioid use disorders. I do know that a wide range of rehab facilities, a big one is methadone and Suboxone that they use. But then again, I think that there's always the potential for people to misuse that as well.
Well, I know that methadone clinics, when you go in and you're receiving treatment, you get drug tested every time you go in, and if you fail the drug test, they have what's called take-homes. So if you pass your drug test, then you get to take your medications home with you, and it's kind of like, okay, over time, you get to take it home on the weekends only for this and as you stay clean,
Like a step up provision.
yes, and as you stay clean, they begin to let you take them home. But before that, they have.
Oh no, they have policies, procedures in place to try to eliminate that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But just like with the synthetic, morphine being the main component of it, MS cotton, people have found how to extract the morphine from it and misuse the drug.
True story. So those medications, the World Health Organization deems them as essential medicines. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
So, but they deem them as essential. And a study shows that once treatment is initiated, those medications and the combination and an extended release formulation are similarly effective in treating opioid use disorder. So, you have those options out there. They're out there, and medications they do believe that medications should be combined with some sort of behavioral counseling for a whole patient approach known as the medication assisted treatment, or MAT, and some facilities do offer that. So, pretty heavy stuff, but necessary, and it's going to be interesting to watch these cases go and see what happens. Is this going to bring forth some sort of awareness? Is this going to help? Are policymakers going to get more involved?
Well, and through doing all my research preparing for today, I did read that there were, I think it was 3 of the CFO, CEO, or that 3 of the people for Purdue Pharmacy, that they had been charged back in 2007, was it? Or they were charged with misdemeanors, and a lot of people viewed that as, hey, we kind of missed our chance to head this off.
Yeah.
And now here it is.
So I read the same article. I believe it was New York Times, if you'd like to look it up. And
it was a very good article.
They talked about how in 1996 they rolled out, and then the Justice Department started to investigate what was going on, and it was 4, that they actually suggested that they be indicted, and the administration at the time said.
And they spent like millions of dollars in fines and civil fees, and they were ordered to do community service. But for such a big company with unlimited resources, that was kind of a slap on the wrist, and a lot of people weighed in on it. A lot of officials weighed in on it, DA as well, just, hey, that was kind of like our chance to head this off. And now look what we're dealing with. It's a national crisis.
So it'll be interesting to see, follow these cases. You can Google them, look them up anywhere. I'm sure they'll pop up on your news feed at some point, just because this is
you're watching it.
Yeah.
Because you're watching it knows.
But because it is such a big deal right now in our nation, and people are trying to figure it out, and I don't really think anyone is for sure where to go from here. So I think these lawsuits will kind of help push that into the right direction. But
hopefully it's a very serious issue, and to anyone out there affected by a loved one or someone who has a addiction or a drug use disorder, whatever it may be, we hope that they find the help that they need.
Yes. So, happy Friday. So that's our show for today. We're so glad you joined us. We apologize it was a little heavier today. Next week we'll be back with another topic for Disclosure Live. And enjoy your weekend. Don't get too crazy. Don't drink and drive. And
all of the things your mom would tell you not to do.
Yeah, everything that your mother would tell you not to do, don't do them. And if you got to leave work early today, we are so jealous of you. Go have a donut in honor of us, and then go pick up a free puppy. Go to Dallas and pick up a free puppy.
Donuts and puppies. I don't think it could get better.
I don't either. So, yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us comments somewhere over here. You can ask a question. Subscribe somewhere over here. But we'll see you next week. I'm Jonna Lang.
And I was about to read Heather. I'm Heather. I'm Katie. Nice to see you guys. Thanks again.
And you can always reach us at brandyaustinlaw.com. Brandy like the wine, Austin like the city, and law as in what we do. And you can always call us at 817-841-9906. So enjoy your weekend, guys. Stay hydrated in this heat. And we'll see you next Friday, okay? Bye. Should I keep waiting? Yes.
Well, you put I'm Brady Austin and Heather, and I was like, wait, I'm not Heather.
I forgot that part. I didn't see that.
I almost read that. I did kind of read it.